I swear, on all the shoes I've ever reviewed, and all the shoes I still have to review, that I am not memeing.
Zachaboo Sneaker Reviews.
Welcome to the channel. My name is Zach, and you can call me Zachaboo. I'm here for you and any sneakers you may be curious about. No brand snobbing, no shaming. I'm just here to give all you guys and girls out there more information about sneakers that you might be interested in buying. And today's featured piece of footwear isn't exactly a shoe, or at least by modern day standards, but for some reason has cemented itself a place in modern day sneaker culture, and I'm not exactly sure how to feel about that. Now, it's not because I don't like these things, it's more so because I'm not particularly fond of how a lot of so-called sneakerheads nowadays wear these when they want to avoid creasing their shoes. And this, my friends, is a pair of Crocs, specifically the lavender colorway from the collaboration with Justin Bieber's Drew House. Yeah, so the B-roll montage wasn't exactly a lot, but that's also because I may have tinkered with it already, and also because they didn't really come in a box, so there really wasn't anything to unbox. Because much like any other pair of Crocs, especially the classic clog, they just come in what appears to be a, what is this? Biodegradable plastic Ziploc bag sort of thing. The difference being that these Drew House Crocs already came with a free pair of socks and all these oversized gibbets.
The origins of Crocs date back to 2002, even though they were already a company back in 1999 under a different name. Story goes that a trio of friends who go by the names of Lyndon Duke Hansen, George Bodecker Jr., and Scott Seaman were on vacation in the Caribbean when Scott decided to show his friends the extraordinary slip-resistant clog he was wearing. Learning that it was made by a Canadian company back in the day called Foam Creations, the friends saw an opportunity. And soon enough, they had it licensed and were trying to develop the shoe mainly by adding a strap, or what I like to call sport mode. The only other thing they had to do was come up with a name, and they realized the top of the clog actually looked like a crocodile snout from the side. And voila, Crocs was born. And while the design and whole rebranding situation may have started and even sold out back in 2002, it wasn't until around the mid-2000s when things really skyrocketed after a bunch of strategic partnerships with NASCAR and Disney.
Now, I actually remember when Crocs first started trending in the Philippines, and a lot of people were clowning them, myself included. But an even bigger percentage of people were actually wearing them already. So much so that fake pairs of Crocs just started popping up here, there, and pretty much anywhere. And as you can probably see, it's easier to make a copy of these things just because it's straight up foam. I guess you can say the same thing about Crocs today, but the interesting thing is how it all ties into sneaker culture today. Now, I personally don't consider this thing a shoe, even though the word clog actually refers to thick wooden-soled shoes most commonly associated with the Dutch region. Honestly, Crocs feel more like sandals to me, but that's just my personal opinion. I don't know, maybe someone else out there might think differently. If so, then let me know down in the comments.
Over the past few years, we've seen Crocs take on more partnerships and collaborations. and it's really helped in bringing in new customers. Fairly recently, we've seen the brand collaborate with names such as Post Malone, Bad Bunny, Justin Bieber, and even John Cena, but I can't seem to find a picture of him. With more eyes on the brand, it wasn't long before people started exploring what else they could do with Crocs, even if they missed out on any big-time collabs. I guess the most noticeable one would be the all-white classic clog, and you could just go ahead and put whatever gibbets you want.
Speaking of gibbets, and this particular pair of Drew House Crocs, those little pins or charms or whatever it is that gibbets are, they're the only thing I see people paying extra for. Because truth be told, these things weren't even meant to be expensive. But because of today's sneaker culture and how all these different collabs go, you're bound to see a pair of Crocs from the Biebs and Bad Bunny and all these other superstars just resell for so much more than they're actually worth. And that's actually one thing that's kind of crazy when you think about sneaker culture in this day and age. But to add to that, and I also mentioned this earlier on in the video, a lot of these so-called sneakerheads nowadays wear these things just to avoid creasing their shoes. Look, I understand having a sneaker collection, and I also understand that's your hard-earned money, and a lot of the collectors out there don't want the fresh look of their sneakers just killed. But I gotta say it, one time for the culture. Shoes are meant to be worn, and they will deteriorate eventually, especially when it comes to all these Jordan retros because of that polyurethane midsole. Those things are eventually going to crumble over time. And I gotta say, I honestly like Crocs, especially after buying my first pair sometime last year, and discovering just how comfortable they can be. I guess a lot of people felt the same way because Crocs raked in a butt ton of money between 2020 and 2021. Maybe it's because most of us were actually in quarantine and we would only go out just to buy like groceries and stuff. I don't know.
But going over these guys, and it really goes to show just how simple yet flavorful these clogs can be. It's a nice canvas, and you can get them in whatever color or print you desire. Plus, the gibbets are always a nice personal touch. I believe this lavender colorway is the second collab Justin Bieber's Drew House has with Crocs, and really the only difference is the color and gibbets that are actually characters from Drew House. Oh, and they also added a free pair of socks. And that's because the first collab was yellow, and had a different set of charms without any other freebies. I mean, you can easily just get purple or lavender classic clogs if you really wanted to, and then just buy whatever gibbets you want. But if you're a fan of Drew House or a fan of Justin Bieber, then you can probably find these for resale. Just to keep in mind that the original price was around roughly 3,500 pesos or $69. Nice. If you didn't already know, then let me tell you. Crocs are some of the most comfortable things you'll ever put on feet. And while the design may not be too pretty, the function aspect is there. If all you care about is the name, then you might as well just go for Yeezy foam runners, but I'd personally go with Crocs over those any day of the week. These are still considered to be slip-resistant footwear, with the perforations on that upper that's both for airflow and for any funky gibbets you want. Add that little strap and you have an option to keep it chill or put it in sports mode. But be warned, even if Crocs tend to fit big, the moment you use the strap, your toes still might jam into the front, and that's not exactly the best feeling in the world. Speaking of sizing, these things fit big. Like Air Force One big, probably even slightly bigger. For context, my usual size for shoes is either 9.5 or 10, and I had to get these in a 9. Even then, I feel like I could have gone down a little bit more. So if you think Adidas sizing is tricky, wait till you get a pair of Crocs. I'm even going as far as saying that wide-footers may have an easier time finding their size in these. People with a high instep, though, be warned. Because unlike shoes you can adjust with laces and a traditional tongue that's usually softer, Crocs are straight up foam, and might cause some discomfort because there's really no way to adjust anything. It really is best to try them on first.
Look, I'm gonna be honest with all you guys and girls out there. I really just wanted to give you more info about Crocs in general, but I did see these lavender Drew House Crocs go for retail, and I thought, hey, you know what, this might be an opportunity. Why? It's easy. Because more people are going to be drawn to these things. And that's because of Justin Bieber. Whether you like him or not, Justin Bieber has a huge fan base. And it's easy to see why it's like that even up to now. The guy's been having himself a phenomenal year with all these new releases and all the features that he's been on. And I'm going to say it right now that if he keeps it up, he could be in the conversation for artist of this decade. But going back to the Crocs real quick, and it's as straightforward as you can possibly think. If you just want to stay comfy, then try a pair of these things. And if you want to personalize them, you can easily do that as well with these little charms. Buy whatever shoe or type of footwear that you like, but please make sure to use them. Otherwise, they're just gonna go to waste. If you are interested in grabbing a normal pair of Crocs, I'm still going to be leaving a link down below in the description box. But my real suggestion would be for you guys to try them on in store first. Mainly because the sizing is just way too tricky. Just make sure it's safe enough to go to the Crocs store, because truth be told, and for lack of a better phrase or a better explanation, the COVID situation here in the Philippines right now is just kind of messed up. If you found this video helpful in helping you make a decision about Crocs, or perhaps even exploring Crocs, or if you just like the content, then by all means, please hit that thumbs up button. It really goes a long way. Also, consider subscribing if you haven't already. Enable post notifications and share my videos with your friends, because the more subscribers we have, the more giveaways we're also going to have. It's the road to 250 subscribers, so by all means, please do help this community grow, because it would be great for people to make more informed decisions before they buy certain pieces of footwear or certain sneakers. My name is Zach. You can call me Zachaboo. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.